Hello everyone, how have you been? I hope you have been great. I am Vicheka, the teacher of English at Trillium New Generation School. This video is about the English class in Level 2B, New Headway Elementaries for Citizens. Our today unit is in Unit 10, Where on Earth Are You? We focus on the writing, comparing and contrasting, which is on page 115. So everyone, let's take a look at our lesson objective. By the end of the lesson, you guys will be able to first complete the text using linking words correctly. Second, identify X parts of the writing correctly. Okay, so but before we start, I just want to check the homework that we did last week. Okay, so it talked about the reading, living in the space, right? So and the homework that you have to do is to find the numbers that in the articles that what do this number from the article refer to. So we have 100 billion, 15, 1998, 6, 200, 8, and 0. Okay, so now let's take a look at X number. What does the number from the article refer to? Okay, let's get started. For the numbers of 100 billions in the text, it refers to the cost of the station in dollars. Okay, and next, 1998 refers to the years of the first parts of the station went into the space. So it is the year of the first part of the station went into the space. Okay, and number 6 is the numbers of the months that astronauts stay at a time. Okay, let's get started to the others. 200, yes, 200 refer to the number of the visitor there have been. Okay, so there are 200 visitors that has been there. Number 15 refers to the numbers of different countries that visitors have been from. Okay, so there are 200 visitors that have been there, and they are all from 15 countries. Okay, and number and 8 refer to the numbers of times supply ship arrived. Okay, and 0 refers to the number used in expression zero gravity. Okay, so now we have done. Let's move to our today lesson together. In today's lesson, you are going to learn about comparing and contrasting in writing. Okay, but before we start, I just want to show you some vocabularies that you might need in order to write about comparing and contrasting paragraphs. Okay, so we are going to learn about the describing people. Everyone, what phrase can we use to describe people? Do you have any idea? All right, it's pretty. It's kind of the phrase that we use to describe someone. Okay, it's pretty, it's handsome, isn't very tall, is good looking. Okay, so everyone, and is tall. Okay, here are some phrases that you might use to describe people, right? And there's many more. Okay, but everyone, I just want to ask you this question by looking at the pictures. Who is pretty? Okay, who is pretty among these three people? We have Charlie, Simon, and Max. So someone is pretty must be the girl. So she is pretty. And who is handsome? Handsome might refer to men, right? Okay, so between these two, who is handsome? It depends on your look, right? To me, Matt is handsome. Yes. And who is tall? Okay, the answer is Matt too, right? Okay, so here are some phrases that you might need to describe people, and there's many more. We have long hair, refer blonde hair. You know long hair, you know blonde hair, right? Okay. Blue eyes, dark hair. And who's got blonde hair, everyone, between Stephanie and Amy? Who's got blonde hair? So the answer is yes. Stefani's got blonde hair. Okay. Okay, the next question. Who's got dark hair? Yeah, you can say Amy got dark hair. Okay. These are some phrases that you might need to describe people. Okay. And this for people, we have the word jeans, a hat, a scarf, shirt and tie, and a dress. So the question is, who's wearing? So you might say, who's wearing jeans? But, among these four peoples, who's wearing jeans, everyone? So from what you can see, Mark is wearing jeans. Okay. How about the question, who's got a hat? There must be Robbie, right? She's the one who's wearing hat. Okay. Scarf. Better scarf. Yes, and here we can see the scarf. We have Stephanie. You might say Stephanie is wearing a scarf, or how about shirt and tie? Yes, might be this guy, Gil. He is wearing shirt and tie. Yes, look professional one. Okay. Okay, so there's many phrases that we have learned about uh, describing people. And there's also some linking words that you might use in the writing. We have the word but, so, because, however, others, and when. So everyone, do you know when do we use all our these linking words? There must be the question, right? Some of you might know how to use it, but not really sure what kind of situations we use these linking words. Okay, so now let's check the words but and however and all those. These three words have similar meanings, but notice how they join these sentences. So but, however, and although have similar meanings, but when it comes to join sentences together, there are some differences. Okay. So everyone, do you know when do we use but, however, and all those? When do we use these words? Any ideas, everyone? Okay, you guys might know. So these words are used to connect two opposite ideas. So the words what, however, and all those are used to connect two opposite ideas. So now let's take a look at the sentence that we use this word. Number one, I love travel, but I don't like flying. So by seeing this, you can see that there's two ideas as opposite, right? The first one is I love travel, and the second one, I don't like flying. So if you want to connect between these two, we use the linking words but. How about however? The same things about the word however. We use however in the same position as the word but. I love travel, but however, I don't like flying. So these two words are used in the same position in sentences. How about the word although? Is there any difference in terms of the use? Okay. The word although we say, although I love travel, I don't like flying. So we can see that we use the word although in front of the first sentence as I love travel. Although I love travel, I don't like flying. Okay. So a little bit difference between however and although. If you use although, you have to notice the sentence following the words. And this one, I love travel. However, I don't like flying. So you cannot say I love travel although I don't like flying. It sounds weird, right? So please make sure that when you use the word however and although, you have to make sure that the sentence that you use behind the words sound should make sense to you when you read or when you hear it. Okay. So now let's move on to the next linking words. Okay, so we have the word so. So it rains, so I wear raincoat. This sentence we use the word so. So everyone, what is the word so mean in this sentence? When do we use it? When do we use the word so? Okay, it rains, so I wear raincoat. So the word so here is used to everyone. Do you have any idea? Yes, the word so is used to give result. Okay, so we focus on the result. I wear raincoat. So we use the word so to give result. Okay. Next word is the word because. Because it rains, I wear raincoat. And the word because is used to what everyone? Alright, is used to give reasons. So when we use this word, you have to notice that if you want to focus on the result, we use the word so. If you focus on the things that you wear raincoat, you have to use the word so. It rains, so I wear raincoat. But if you mainly focus on the reason, so you use the word because. Because it rains, I wear raincoat. The same meanings, but just use different word. When we use the word so, you mainly focus on the result. But when we use the word because, you mainly focus on the reasons. Okay. So now next word is the word when. When it's rain, I wear raincoat. And we can also say I wear raincoat when it rains. So everyone, between these two, when it's rain, I wear raincoat and I wear raincoat when it rains. So do you have any ideas when do we use the word when in sentences? Do you have any ideas, everyone? When it rains, I wear raincoat. And you can also say I wear raincoat when it rains. Just like if you use the phrase when it rains, you have to put comma. But if you use when at the end of the sentence, you don't need to use comma, okay? So everyone's any ideas when do we use the word when? Okay. So alright, the word when is used to refer to the action that happens at the same time. Yes, the same time that it is raining, you're wearing raincoat. So we focus on the action that happened at the same time. Okay. So now after knowing how to use X linking words, let's come to the reading completion. That is a sample writing for you that you can take it as a sample in our writing. So we talk about the twin brothers. Okay, so as you know that the twin there might be some similarities and differences. Okay, so now let's take a look at the contents of our reading. So what we have to do is to use the linking words that we have learned up to complete in the text. And we have but, so, because, however, although, and when. And you guys know about use these linking words. So now it comes to your practice. Okay, so we have the paragraph. I have twin brothers, Nick and Chris. They're 20 years old, and number one, they're twins. There is not identical twins. And number two, they are different in many ways. Okay, so we have number one and number two. What words should be completed in this sentence? Okay, so everyone, you have 30 seconds to think when or what words should be used in these sentences. 30 seconds for you, everyone. Okay, it's almost time, so do you have the answer? Have you got the answer yet, everyone? Alright, so now time's up. So let's check and compare the answer. Number one, what do you use in this sentence? They are 20 years old, and number one, they are twins. So what word, everyone? Alright, the word although they are twins. Number two, they are not identical twins. Number two, and they are different in many ways. So what word should be used in this sentence, everyone? Alright, because they are not identical twins because they are different in many ways. So, okay, so it is the first paragraph in the writing. So you guys can also read it on page 115. And I just extract some the part in that writing to put it here. Okay, so the first paragraph in the reading, or you can say the sample writing, what is it about? You mentioned about I have twin brothers, Nick and Chris. They are 20 years old. They are not identical twins because they are different in many ways. So what is the first paragraph is called? Everyone? Yes, all right. It is the introduction of the writings. It's called introduction. So in the introduction, you mention some information that you are going to talk about. So in this, the writer is going to talk about the twin brothers, Nick and Chris. By comparing between these two peoples. Okay, so in the first paragraph, you mention about what you are going to talk in your writing. Yes, in this introduction. Okay, so now let's move on to the next. We talk about the same linking words that you have to complete in the sentences. Okay, so for a start, they don't look alike. Nick's got blonde hairs and blue eyes, and he is quite tall. And we have number three. Chris isn't very tall, and he's got red hair and brown eyes. Also, they never wear the same clothes. This is what our mother always dressed them alive. Okay, and number five. They were children and they hate it. Okay, so we have three spaces that you have to complete the linking words in. Okay, everyone, you have 40 minutes. Oh, sorry, 40 seconds to complete this. Okay, let's get started. You have 40 seconds. Have number three, number four, and number five. So what linking words should be used in a sentence? Chris isn't very tall and he's got red hair and brown eyes. This is our mother always treat them alive. They were children and they hated it. Okay, 14 seconds is almost gone. Alright, everyone, time's up, so let's have the answer. Number 3, what word do you use in this sentence, everyone? Alright, the word but. You see, but very tall, but Chris isn't very tall, and he's got red and brown eyes. So the first one talking about Nick got blonde hair and blue eye, and he's quite tall. And number 3, we compare between these two ideas, right? Number 1 talking about Nick's, and the second idea talking about Chris. So to compare between these two people in terms of differences, we use the word but. Okay, so number 4. This is our mother overthrows them alive. Yes, this is because our mother overthrows them alive. And number 5. Yes, when there were children and they hated it. Okay, so what is this referred to? What is it called in the writing? This part, what is it called in the writing, everyone? After the introduction, what is it? Alright, that is the body of the writing. So what should be mentioned in the body of the writing? So we mentioned about, yes, we mentioned about the first comparison in terms of personalities. So you might compare between anything else that you want, but in the sample writing, it is in the body, it introduced the first comparison between Nick and Chris. So the writer talked about the personality between these two people. Okay, so now let's move on to the next. It's the same thing, talking about the body. So the same linking words that you have to complete in this part. Something else that they don't like is number 6. People talk about the twins, not Nick and Chris. They want to be individual. And number 7. And they do have some interest in common key. So you have 40 seconds as well to complete this. Okay, let's get started. Everyone, it's running through the house. 20 seconds gone, so you have more 20 seconds more. Okay, number 6 and 7, everyone. Something else that is they don't like is what? Because people talk about the twin. Alright, now 40 seconds gone, so let's have the answer. Okay, so number 6, they don't like is, yes, it's when people talk about the twin because they want to be individual, so they hate when people talk about them, not Nick and Chris, but twin. Okay, so they want to be individual. And number 7, they do have some interest in commons. Okay, however, they have some interest in common key. So in this part, in this body, the first we're talking about the personality by comparing between Nick and Chris. So in this part, what is it about? Alright, it is about the introduce to second comparison in terms of interest. So between these two people, they also have something in common and something the same in terms of their interest, their feeling towards something. Okay. So in order to introduce the second comparison, you have to you might use this linking word something else, okay, to add more comparison to the first one. Okay. The first, just so now let's go on to the next, which is also the body part of the writing. So in this part, the same thing that you have to do is to complete the linking words. Okay, for examples, they live being outdoors. Number 8. They often go for a long walk together in the countryside. Although they both have great computer skills, in fact, they both study IT at university. And number 9, in different town. Okay, so you also have 40 seconds to complete this. So now let's get started. We have number 8 and number 9. They live being outdoors. They often go for a long walk together in countryside. And they both study IT at university in different town. What word is appropriate in this sentence? Alright, 40 seconds gone. So now let's check whether you have the same answer as mine. Okay, number 8, the answer is so. Because they live be outdoors, they often go for long walk together in the countryside. And in fact, they both study IT at university. Yes, but in different town. They study IT at university, but in different town. Okay, so this body, what is it about, everyone? Alright, it is about give example. So after you introduce the first and the second comparison between these two people in terms of their similarity and differences, you have to give some example to support your ideas. And here's the example. So in this, you might use the word for example, for instance, to show that example to support the idea that you rest in the body. Okay, after the body part, it's going to be another thing is that they both hate football, which is very unusual for boys of their age. Okay, so we move on to the extra example. So to give extra example to support the ideas that you mentioned in the body, you use another things. Okay, another thing is that they both hate football, and you can add more example to support your ideas. Okay, and after the body part, which is going to be the last part in the writing, we have the word finally. So it is the last part in the writing. Finally, I must say that I love my brothers very much. Number 10, they have different personalities. They are both lovely brothers. Nick is quiet and quite shy. 11, Chris loves going to parties and telling jokes. We have number 12, both of them are always very kind to me. Their little sister, I can tell them all my problems. Okay, so the writer is their little sister. Okay, so we have number 10, 11, and 12 that you have to complete the linking words. Okay, so you also have 40 seconds to complete this. So let's get started. Number 10, 11, and 12. We have to put but, so, because, however, all those, and when. Twenty seconds gone. Okay, so time's up. The answers for number 10 is what? They have different personalities. They are both lovely brothers. Yes, the answer is all those. Although they have different personalities, they are both lovely brothers. Nick is quiet and quite shy. Chris loves going to the party and telling jokes. So number 11, yes, is the word but. So we compare with which one these opposite idea together. Okay. Number 12, the last one. Yes, however, both of them are always very kind to me. Okay, their little sister, I can tell them all my problems. So everyone, the last paragraph in the sample writing, what do we call it? What do we call the last part in the writing? It is called, yes, the conclusion. So the conclusion of the writing, what you have to do is to sum up everything and showing your interest toward the topic that you write. Okay. So, so everyone, what have you learned today? Yes, we have learned about some phrases to describe people. Another thing we learned about the linking words used in connecting sentences, and we also know the step in the writing. And the first step is the introduction, right? So in the introduction paragraph, what you have to write is about what you are going to mention in the body, what you are going to mention in the writing. So the audience that you are going to write about. In this sample writing, that little sister is going to talk about their brother, their twin brother, in terms of their personal, in terms of something similarity and differences. Okay, so in the introduction, mention some things that you are going to talk in the body. Okay, and next is the body. So in the body, you introduce the first comparisons in terms of the personality. And in the next body, talking about the second comparison in terms of interest. And you can add more information as you want in the body by introducing the third comparisons or the fourth comparison. Okay. But in the sample writing, they introduce the first and the second comparison in terms of personalities and interests. And the next is about the giving example. The next giving example to support the ideas that she writes in the writing. And the last part of the body, what is it, everyone? All right, that is the conclusion that you have to sum up everything you write in the writing and then show your personal feeling, your interest toward the topic. Okay, so it is what we have learned in our today lesson. It's come to the last slide, which is your homework. Yes, you see many things on the slide, but it is just something little. So what you have to do is to write your own comparison between two people or two things. Okay, so what you have to focus is to pay more attention on the impression in the modal text. Text they are used by asking the following question with expression. So introduce the first paragraph. We have the first comparison. We have for a start. We have introduced another comparison. We have the word something else or another thing is that. And gives an example. We have the word for example, for instance. And introduce the last point of the paragraph. We have the word finally to sum up in conclusion that you might use in the writing. So follow the step in the writing that we have introduction, body, and conclusion, but focus on the expression. I'll introduce the first comparison and second comparison and giving example and giving the last point in the paragraph by you can look at this expression. Okay, so now it's come to the end of our today lesson. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and good luck everyone.